mics are rocket science, right? We're sending satellites into space, but every event I go to, it's always a struggle. We're saying welcome back, everyone, to the last panels of the Asteroid 2025. We've heard about asteroid research, we've heard about space medicine, astronaut stories, and how to attract new talents into the space sector. Now we would like to leave the floor to actually a set of researchers working in Europe and what we'd like to call next-gen researchers. So there's going to be 5 of them that I'm pleased to invite on stage. First of all, Daniel Mueller, planetary scientist at University of Bern. Please, yes, please join us. We can give him a round of applause. Thank you, Daniel, for being here with us. We have Julia Bringewald, a rising physicist awarded at Luxembourg Science Fair. Thank you, Julia, for being here. Following Lisa Krämer, Ruggiu, micrometeorite expert at Brussels. Thank you. Philippine Griveaud, researchers at MPI for Astronomy, exploring exoplanets. And last but not least, we have a postdoc researcher from the University of Luxembourg, Niki, Sajad. Well, thank you all for being with us. You are supposed to be our young voices in space for this event. Could you maybe introduce in like 1 minute tops what your research is about and what you find exciting about it? Okay, let's go in order, if you don't mind.
Does it work? Yes. Thank you for the introduction. So yes, I'm an astrophysicist. I work on studying how the solar system was formed, and more specifically on how the planets got to where they are today in the system, because we're pretty sure that they didn't form where they are today, so they moved around throughout their formation and their history. And so I kind of retraced the whole history of their formation and their dynamical evolution with theoretical work.
Thank you, Philippine. Lisa, how about you? Yes.
So hello, I'm Lisa. So very complementary to what you're doing. So I study how the solar system formed, but in a chemical point of view. So composition of asteroids using meteorites and micrometeorites. So I also study their composition, how they form, but also how they arrived on Earth. So the flux of extraterrestrial material to Earth. So what I find exciting is studying how everything arrived on Earth, so water, and what we're made of, so basically us, stardust, and yeah, studying all the chemical composition of everything.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hi, I'm Julia. Thank you for having us. Right now I'm a second semester physics student in Germany, and my last project was about space weather forecasting using machine learning, different algorithms. So more specific, it was solar flare intensity forecasting. So for those who don't know, solar flares are giant explosions on the sun that can, if they hit Earth, interfere with our telecommunication networks and also our power systems. So it would be great to predict them, right? And that's what I did in my last project. I used different machine learning algorithms to predict the intensity of future solar flares.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Daniel. I'm a postdoctoral researcher from the University of Bern in Switzerland. And I'm actually not an asteroid scientist, but a comet scientist. But I think it's not too bad. I think we can call them like brothers and sisters. So they are quite similar. And in the comet research, I am working at the moment at the mass spectrometer, or in a group with other people, we're working on a mass spectrometer. That should fly on the Comet Interceptor mission, which is an ESA mission. I think it has been shortly introduced in the morning. I don't know if we can talk about it later. And the fun fact here is that in space instrumentations, we like a lot these acronyms. And the instrument I'm working on is called MANIAC.
Thank you.
Hi. My name is Niki, and I'm a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Luxembourg. I used to work on designing the attitude determination and control system, and if there's any project for that, I still work on it. But I also work on designing sustainable missions. So I recently finished my PhD. I worked on understanding the location and attitude of pieces of debris in space. And currently I'm involved with designing more sustainable missions. For example, one of them is like having multi-mission satellites instead of launching a lot of satellites with single missions.
Thank you. So you said student PhDs or postdocs, so you all kind of the early stage of your career right now in the space sector. If we go back to what got you there, was this a specific moment or something that you would like to share that got you into science and space in general? Go ahead, Elisa, or Julia. Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. Basically, this one moment that perhaps all of us had, or a lot of researchers have, where I thought I have to do this, was when I learned about quantum physics. So yeah, you're laughing. So it's like when you start noticing, we actually have no idea what's going on. Everything we know is wrong. Everything we know is that we don't know anything. This was the moment I thought I have to study this and I have to find out.
We hope you will for humanity. Another story, Niki, maybe?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I was not really interested in space from an early age, but I also did my bachelor's in electrical engineering. During those times, I joined an astronomy club because of my friend, because she was in an astronomy club. And I started to watch some documentaries. And this was the moment I realized I really like to do this. It was a documentary from one of the shuttle launches. So I saw this huge team behind the mission, and they were really different, but they were working toward the same goal. And it was very fascinating to me. And it was a control mission team, and I realized that I really like to control a satellite. This is why I continued my master in space engineering, and I started working on controlling satellites. Yeah.
Nice. How about you, Daniel?
I just wanted to say I can add something to this because you mentioned the shuttle mission. When I was a little kid, the shuttle mission was in its full working mode, and I've seen a lot of videos of the shuttle, and I really love it. And I think I can't say a specific point that inspired me to go into space, but I think a specific person, and this would be Claude Nicollet, who was here before, because he was the first, or still is, the first Swiss astronaut that has been to space, and coming from Switzerland, he was like one of the national heroes. So yeah, I think the space shuttle and like having a local astronaut that has a good outreach possibility that can motivate other people or even small kids.
Yeah, inspire them. Thank you. How about you, Lisa, then?
I can make it short. I was more like Niki. I was not super interested in space when I was young. I was interested in mostly everything, let's say, and I tried everything for my studies before going into space. My mom is here and she would say, yeah, it was tiring for everyone. But I had a mentor. I did an internship at the end of my bachelor. I was reading papers on Martian rovers, and it made everyone dream at that time. And so I sent her an email very naively, like, oh, I'm looking for an internship. Could you find someone or recommend someone? And she basically answered, come in 2 weeks and do your internship with me. So I went there with my mom again, and I did my internship, and she was amazing, Violaine Sauter. So she was always a mentor, always maybe my local personal hero, I would say. And so she showed me what it was like to study the space. She was involved in NASA mission, ESA mission, and she basically changed what I wanted to do after. So it was basically her.
Thank you. Well, thank you for sharing. One last story.
So similar to Niki and Lisa, I was never really interested in space. I never observed stars when I was little. I was not an astronomer at all. But it happened in physics class when I was about 14, 15. By the end of the year, our teacher would play us some astronomy videos where they would describe some different mechanism in space. And at the end of the videos, the teacher was always asking if anyone had questions. And I constantly had, I don't know what, 100 questions every time. And all of my classmates were so sick of me asking questions. So I figured that I would try to find those answers on my own. And then I started studying that.
And the more answers you find, the more questions
I
arrive.
still do not have the answers to most of those questions. So if anyone has answers, I'm always happy to ask more.
So yes, I really feel this scientific curiosity, as well as indeed keep people you can identify to and say, okay, look up to, and go towards that path. So you're at the early stage of your career. How is it like being a young researcher? What are the challenges? Yeah, go for it.
It's tough, let's be honest. No, it's fascinating. You're discovering so much. You're learning things every day. But I would say one of the biggest challenge as a young researcher, but maybe also as an older researcher, is what we call the imposter syndrome. The fact that we're still convinced that we're all imposters here, and at some point someone's going to discover that we made it this far, but we don't know anything.
That's actually the purpose of the panel.
Yeah.
Not supposed.
So no, this is a really tough thing to face as a young researcher, because you're surrounded with great minds, and you're always thinking, oh wow, these people are so great. What do they do? Like, I'm not that far, and then you really have to fight a lot to believe that you made it there. So somehow you must be worth it a little bit. So I don't know if the others think the same.
Imposter syndromes in the, yeah?
Maybe I have something to add to what you just said. I think the hardest part in science, especially to gain foot in the research industry or just academically, is to get recognition from whether yourself or from your peers, because this field is dominated by experience and by age and by title. This is what I feel like, even if I'm only a student, not a postdoc researcher, but this is very hard to recognize and to be taken serious for what you say, for what you do, because you have to compete against ages and decades of experience, again, with your new ideas that you just can't have from university or coming from doctoral research. And I think this is very hard. But it's also great to be a researcher. So it's not only everything bad.
So if you could change something in the way academia works, what would it be?
I have this.
Yeah, you got this. Okay, go.
I agree with everything that was said. I would like to add to what Julia said, that there is some bias that are still there, so gender bias a lot in science, especially in space science, I would say. It was a subject that was mainly male dominating until a few years ago. It's starting to change. So especially, I don't know, I mean, maybe not only for me, but when you arrive there as a young woman and you're like, I know stuff a little bit, I'm starting to know stuff. It takes you a little bit more energy than other men colleagues to prove that you actually know stuff and that you can make a difference, you can bring something as a woman, as a researcher, even no gender bias in there.
Mm-hmm.
But there is some cultural effect of a gender bias in space science. So I would change this. I think it's starting to change with the new generation of students. We see more, I'm also a teacher at university, and I see more and more young women going into the field, which makes me very, very happy. And it's more and more gender balance, which is super. And so I would change this if I could.
Yeah, I have to say, even just moderating these panels today, it's true that you are the one that is the most diverse in some way, some of you. So maybe there is indeed a change. How about you, Daniel? How do you see this issue?
So, as you see, I was not personally affected. So but I'm actually a mechanical engineer by training, and there it was even worse. So there you could count the women by one or two hands that were in the whole auditorium. And I think in the space science, it's much better from my perspective compared to what I've seen before. And also I have a lot of female colleagues in our group, in our office, not so on the engineering side, but more on the science side.
Mm-hmm. And how could we then make this a better workplace, a more inclusive workplace? We're talking about gender here, but it can be anything related, right? You said you want to, one of the things you could remove is gender bias, but how do we do that? Education?
Yeah, getting more and more. The younger you try to make them excited about science in general, or in everything space related, because it's not only science, it's engineering, it's communication, it's everything. The younger you get them excited about this and you make it open for everyone, not only gender, but all bias that there are, because there are many, the more you get them excited and you show them that it's possible for everyone. It's a field that you can get into even if you have, I don't know, any bias that you can get. So the younger you show them that it's open, like this event, for example, is a perfect way of doing it. The more we create those events and those educational promotion, the better it will get, I think.
You wanted to add something? No, I saw mics going up. That's why. No? Yeah.
Yeah, we should introduce more role models to the younger generation. And I think it's very important to have some missions maybe for younger generations to work with them and understand the kind of work they can do. And I also wanted to say to the next generation that it's not just engineering that you should do to be in the space sector. You can follow your passion in any different fields, from business, law, biology, and still work in the space sector. So you can follow anything, but keep the motivation, and you can be a part of it.
Yeah, true. And actually, this is a perfect transition because this is the question I wanted to ask the audience during this panel. So if you take out your phone and scan the QR code, there's actually a word cloud that's going to appear. Like, what field would you choose if you could work in space? So, as you said, Niki, doesn't have to be sciences, can be something else, right? But here we have mostly astrophysics, astronomy in some sense. Space situational awareness in your case, Niki, I guess would be the field, or
I've studied space engineering.
yeah, space engineering. So let's see. How about you? If you could, or if you are, maybe if you are working in the space sector already, you can put your field. Psychology, interesting. Psychology, space psychologists. I don't think we had one this morning. Biology, medicine. Okay, with the QR code, we don't see everything, but fundamental physics, cosmology. Well, since we have astrophysicists with us, how would you define the difference between an astrophysicist and a cosmologist?
Maybe I can get that one.
Yeah.
So I would say astrophysics is the more broader term that encompasses anyone that works on things that are in space with a more physics approach. Cosmology is a little bit more niche to the larger scale, so the study of the cosmos, so the universe. So in my case, I'm an astrophysicist, but I'm also a planetologist, so I study how planets are formed. But then you can be an astrophysicist and a cosmologist, where you study how the universe was formed, so very different scales, but still in the same world. We're still colleagues.
Yeah, you still accept cosmologists.
Definitely.
Thank you. All right, so medicine and engineering is definitely first, but we have also policy making, business, art, true art we haven't talked about, space art, but there's actually a big community, communications, remote sensing, climate tech, indeed, exploration. We have a wide range, I see, of field and topics. Maybe one of the questions that I'd like to ask each single one of you. So you're all in astrophysics, let's say in the broad sense, and you have all this scientific curiosity. Is there one thing that you think everyone needs to know about astrophysics or science in general, or is there one misconception you'd like to clarify? Yeah,
I'll
go
start
ahead,
with
Lisa.
the first question. So one thing I think it's good that everyone has in mind sometimes is that we are part of the solar system, of the cosmos, of everything. So we're not, it doesn't belong to us, it's not ours, we are part of it. So if we change something, if we use something, it's not ours, we are part of it. So we can exchange, we can try to understand it, we can try to make the most of it, but we are part of it. So we're part of this equilibrium that is this natural solar system thing. But let's keep that in mind, that we're part of this equilibrium. That's it.
Oh, you want to follow up
Can
on
I
that?
follow
Yeah,
up on
for
that?
sure.
We are part of it. I agree 200%. This is a really good answer. And I would add on top of that, we are tiny compared to what's out there. Our solar system, if you ever Google the different scales of the cosmos, we're talking about the universe here, the scale of the solar system is really, 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 really tiny. I don't want to depress everyone by saying we're meaningless, but we're just we're very, very small. So there is much bigger things out there in terms of physics and the science, and this is what is fascinating. This is why a lot of people want to study cosmology, because it's super fascinating. So, and yeah, we're not the center of the universe, definitely not. So it's something to keep in mind, to stay a little bit humble sometimes, I would say.
Maybe something to add, or as a fun fact, or whatever you would call it, regarding the distances. And something that really fascinates me is how precise we are able to send spacecrafts to a certain object. Like we've heard a lot about the Hera and the DART project, like changing the rotation period of this moon, of this one asteroid, and like comparing the size. It's like you start a rocket somewhere on Earth, you have a satellite on it. The satellite is the size of a dishwasher or something like that, and you shoot it hundreds of kilometers away, and then it hits an asteroid or a moon of an asteroid that is the size of a football field. And it's like far out, and that's really something that is, I think that's crazy that we can manage to do this.
Mm-hmm. The universe is crazy, but we also do crazy things somehow. Niki or Julia?
Yeah, I'll come closer to the Earth. I want to say that we really need space because we really want to understand what is happening on the planet, and we can design missions for a better future of Earth and humanity. So we need to preserve it in any possible way.
I only have a small follow-up on all of you, basically. So, yeah, basically what you said, we should realize the distances we live in, and that we are all on this tiny, tiny thing together, a floating rock in a gigantic space. And maybe we should also act like it. We should act like we are one humanity, one species on one planet that also wants to keep this planet maybe a bit longer than just a few billion years. So that's what I want everyone to know, and maybe also to realize.
So one crew aboard one planet that we need to protect, launching crazy stuff in a crazy universe. Okay, that is one good take-home message for everyone. The last question would be if someone in the room, or I mean online, maybe a young student who has the same curiosity and drive as you are, what would be one advice to fit in this academic world that we know needs to change and evolve? Your mic went up so fast, I'm just going to give it to you.
Because actually, I've been asked this today by a young girl who came to my booth and asked, like, I'm 10 years old. I wanted to be a scientist for 5 years now. And how do I become like you? And I was like, not to brag, but I was like, oh, you want that? Oh my God, yes. And basically, the thing everyone has to know, your boy or girl, how old you are, it doesn't matter. Don't be scared, because people tend to be very scared of STEM subjects or general going into science to hear science. Oh no, I can't do this. Everyone can do this. It's not hard. It is literally rocket science, but it's not that hard. You can do it. And in Luxembourg, for teenagers, there are so many programs. It's really a privilege to live here, because I got into science through programs like these from, for example, the University of Luxembourg. There's a Scientifiques lab where you can do summer schools about solar cells or biology or whatever you want to do. It's great, really, and it's all free. So everyone can do it. So it's, even if you don't know what field you want to go in, just start somewhere, just try something. And even if you notice it's not for you, that's fine, then you try something different. Just start somewhere, it doesn't matter where, just do it.
Just do it. People remember this line.
Can I add something? Is just do it exactly, and don't necessarily listen to the people that tell you, are you sure you want to do that? Like, really? Or the people that will judge you, or the people that will tell you, oh, it's a very difficult field. Are you sure? It's very selective. So be aware of how difficult it is, but then don't listen to them. Go as far as you want.
And maybe also, it doesn't matter too much on what you decide on what you want to study or whatever. We've heard it today. There's so much to do, and we have so many jobs, or it's not only the scientists. We heard it today. We have lawyers and business people and everything. So in the end, if you're interested in space, just follow your interest. And if you're now deciding to study this, it doesn't really matter. It might matter, but you can still change afterwards.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'd say please join different workshops, please join organizations, and grab the opportunities to understand what you really want to do. And another thing which is important is that behind big projects there are many people, so it's not just you to do everything. You should be aware that many people are behind these projects, and they do little, very tiny parts of them. So anyone can do. Yeah.
take it easy, basically. Take it easy, trust your gut feeling, and just go for it. Thank you so much for these amazing messages. I feel it applies not only to young people wanting to study science, but even for more mature people here in the audience as well. This is a great message. Thank you for sharing all of this with us, and we'll continue following your path in astrophysics and beyond. Thank you.